Hi, I'm Mike Feeney. You might know me as a comedian or that guy from the internet you want to punch in the face. I'm on the hunt for a co-host for my wildly successful podcast. I've received hundreds of applications from some of the funniest people on the planet.
I'm gonna freak out.
Join me to see if they have what it takes to be my co-host. Welcome to Co-Host Wanted. Today I'm interviewing stand-up comedian, actor, and every sketch artist drawing of a peeping Tom, Jim Norton. Don't let Jim's off-putting appearance or uncomfortable disposition fool you. He's one of the funniest and nicest people that I've ever met, and I'm very glad he's here. Jim, thanks for coming in.
Mike, thanks a bunch. And can I start off with an apology? You mentioned the appearance, and you know I can't sue you for slander. I've been trying to lose weight, and I have yet to lose enough weight, and I want to apologize for how I appear on camera.
No, I think you look great. What I love about your whole personality matches your style very well, because I feel like every time I've ever seen you, I've never seen you in anything. You don't wear like Gucci, you know what I mean? You always look like you just escaped prison, and these were the first clothes that you found.
Yes,
like rummaging through somewhere.
And I sit like I just escaped prison. I'm always fidgeting. Yes.
Let's just get this out of the way up top. You were nice enough to have me open for you on the road a number of times.
Yes, you're very funny.
Thank you. I was fishing for that. Your fans are great. You killed. Are you going to be comfortable going from the power dynamic that we did have to possibly this one, which is now we're kind of like equal-ish, partners 55-45 me?
I understand it. Yeah, I would be comfortable with that, simply because the best part of having peaked in 2007 is you realize that the ladder on the way down is very slow and there's a lot of rungs. So there's a lot of people who have opened for me, who have shot past me.
Wow.
Kevin Hart opened for me in colleges for $300. Oh, yeah. Amy Schumer was on the road with me for 3 years.
Right.
Bill Burr never opened for me, but we were eye-to-eye equals.
Sure.
At one point, now it's eye to Irish shins.
I mean, that means you have a good eye for talent, then. That actually gives me hope for myself, you know? I feel like you know how to pick them.
I do. You know what? I do. Kelsey Cook toured with me for a while. Annie Letterman. Like, all these people are very, very funny. So, yeah, I do have a good eye for talent. Unfortunately, that doesn't translate into my writing and marketing myself or diet.
If only. I remember specifically, it was New Year's Eve. I opened for you at Levity Live.
That's right.
And this is when your marriage to Nikki wasn't public yet.
Yes.
And what was so fun, I mean, you sold it out, and it's just all your fans there. And within like the first 5 minutes, you just start going, and so my wife and you just start saying my wife, and they don't have any idea. And audibly, every show, I heard people being like, what the hell is he? Wife, what the hell?
Yeah.
And you never like addressed it. You never were like, you know, and which made it so much funnier that you just were like, oh yeah, now I'm married, and people are like, I didn't even know you were dating. Like it was very fun. I love that you can do that. Just like, because I would feel the need to be like, oh, these are my fans. They listen to me every day. I gotta like explain like big life events, guys, you know, like that. And you just cut.
I wanted to. I did want to, but I also wanted to work on the material. So I'm like, what's more important here is getting the material where I want it to be, and like, if they're a little gasped by it, they'll figure it out sooner or later.
Which is fun. But, you know, so listen, you're a lot more experienced, successful, respected in comedy, yet I hold the keys to this rocket ship of cash you see before you. So why do you think you would be a good co-host?
Because I have the humility to know that of the two, I have less years ahead of me. I have burned more bridges. I am harder to look at.
Okay.
I blink a lot. I'm not a leading man. Whereas you're a good-looking, confident guy and can probably run an operation a lot better than I would. That's the difference between me now and me 15 years ago, is I've learned.
Right.
I am basically a really good second and third mic. That's my gift.
Yeah.
But as far as running something, there's just no need for anyone to consider it.
I love that. I mean, this is great. Yeah. This is a great humility is a strong asset. Over 20 years in radio, some of the biggest shows and networks of all time has brought you to this opportunity. How does that make you feel?
It feels great. I mean, it makes it feel like it was all worth it. Like the 20 years on Sirius XM or the terrestrial radio.
Yeah.
You know it's for something.
Right.
You don't know where. I hate to say the good Lord is going to lead you, but sometimes it's to an even bigger opportunity. So that's how I look at that. Was a warm-up for this.
Now see,
Yeah.
this is. I think this is going to be well. I think
Can-do attitude.
This is great. Yeah, you really are a go-getter with that positive outlook. I appreciate that. What's the worst job interview that you've been on that you can recall?
I interviewed to co-host Brendan Sagalow's podcast, and it was an unmitigated disaster.
Just loose rats running around and mice.
And he wanted to hire me, and then I had to figure out an excuse, like I just can't do it.
Yeah. Too much on my plate, all this stuff. Yeah. Have you ever been fired?
Only once, and I was 5 years sober. I worked for a company called Laocoste Lamps. They were like fine Italian lamps. And I was just like, I was doing stand-up, and I would go to Maryland for $25, like for the weekend, $50 for, and then make it back, and I'd be too tired to show up for work, so I eventually got fired from that.
Multiple questions.
And for masturbation at another job.
Really?
Yeah.
Truly? Wait.
Yeah.
On the Maryland thing, though, so when you would go to these gigs for $50, where are you sleeping?
Florentine and Bobby Levy a lot of times would get rooms, and they would let me share the room, or they would help me. But there was a lot of times where there was three of us in a room together.
Sure.
Three. One time I was on the road, two comics, Don MacArthur and this other guy, and the three of us were in a room. I was on a cot, and they had the beds.
Yeah.
And we were all going to the next city, and I just woke up, and they had left. I had my car, but they just left me there. I felt so lonely and so alone on the road.
And also, you're like, how did I sleep through that?
How did I sleep through them leaving?
Yeah, like packing, zipping up, because no one packs the night before. Every comic just punches everything into a bag.
Except for me and Bob Saget. We're the two guys that are always ready to go. They said his bags were right by the door, all packed. Didn't do any good, but
because Louis was the first. Louis J. Gomez was the first person to ever take me on the road, and there was plenty of times where him and myself and like Zach Amico would share rooms. And if you think that, like, the snoring on Zach and also it wasn't. There was times I was with Louis at Mohegan Sun where this was the age where, do you remember Periscope? Remember that app?
Oh my
that,
God,
live
yes,
streaming?
yes.
Louis was big into Periscope, and him and I were in a room.
Wasn't that Twitter tied in with Twitter?
Twitter bought it eventually, but it was having its moment, and Louis like live streamed the whole night, like us going out to the bar and then going back to the room, and then he was doing like like Louis Sleeps Lives or something like that. So he had all the lights on in the hotel room, and he propped it up on the nightstand next to his bed, and he was just talking, and it's like 3 or 4 in the morning at this point. I'm trying to fall asleep, and he's talking to the camera, he's bringing me in. Then he gives out our room number on the live and tells people to start calling in, and he'll do like a live call in, and so people start calling our room at 3 and 4 in the morning, and eventually Louis fell asleep. And when he fell asleep, I unplugged the phone from the wall. But it was crazy because he would be dead asleep and the phone ring. He'd pick it up and go, "You're on the air. What's going on?" Like he just is constant radio.
That's crazy,
mode.
yeah. But I will say, Louis Sleeps sounds a lot better than other things I've seen Louis doing. I would prefer to watch Louis just sleeping.
Yeah, he's very innocent when he's sleeping.
He really is. Yeah, a little thumb in his mouth. Good boy.
Very, very curled up. Psychological question: how many basketballs do you think would it take to fill up this room?
I'm not a good guess. Like my first guess was 2 billion, but I'm not a good guesser. I've historically been a very
slightly less.
Probably. And then the other, honestly, the second thought I had was 4, but that's not enough. I'm a very bad guesser.
It couldn't be
historically.
Yeah, it's a lot. I would not be one of those good like that guess your weight person. You would not be one of those Carney. Let's send on this. Let me guess your weight. All that
no,
kind of thing.
unless it was my face, then I could do it in fucking kilograms.
Yeah, kilograms. You have let's talk about your resume here is pretty great. You got a great body of work. First off, you have a great new podcast called Jim Norton Can't Save You, where you give out advice, which in and of itself is hilarious.
Some would say I'm not qualified.
Unless, of course, that advice is how to make blinking seem painful.
That's right, exactly. How do I have bosoms as a man and blink a lot and a neck like a frog and still wonder why no one fucks me? I can help.
Imagine that. That's a very niche group. But tell people about the podcast so that they know, so they can go watch it? Like,
we record it. I have guests come on, and we do phone-ins, live phone-ins, and we give advice if we can. And it's very fun. It's not just comics, too. Mostly comics. I had George Santos on, who is the senator, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think, is next week. So but it's mostly comedians. I mean, it's interesting because callers take you in these weird directions that you wouldn't think. It's every interview. It's all kind of the same. And I'm like, I like the idea of somebody who's not with us throwing their life into it.
Right.
And I had Nick Mullen on, who's so goddamn funny. Yeah. But then Nick is like, just kind of like, all right, what is this? And then at one point he's like, wait, hold on a second. He's actually asking the guy questions. Yeah. Like, everyone wants to be asked, what do you think?
Of course.
So when someone calls in, I don't care who it is, Tim Dillon, the weird directions he went into because he's so funny. Like,
sure, yeah, the way he thinks about. Dude, have you ever had anyone call you in yet that's like clearly just messing with you?
Very rare, once in a while, but then I don't care. Like,
yeah.
The fun is to mess with Dr. Laura Schlesinger because she doesn't, go take on the day. Shut up. But we're comics. We're not going to go, hey, this is serious business.
Yeah, of course.
I don't care. Yeah. So sometimes people do, but most times people actually call in to discuss wanting to try comedy, or relationships ending or jobs ending. It's interesting.
How many people do you tell, like, just don't get into comedy?
Everyone who calls, and half the comedians I know.
It is a crazy, like, it is wild even post-pandemic for people being like, I want to start to get my tight five, and I'm like, dude, just do YouTube. Get on, like, the internet. Like, this feels like we're newspaper salesmen all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like an archaic, people. I've had people that, they've seen my stand-up clips online and everything, and then they'll be like, oh man, you're great. I live here in Rochester, and I go, I'm coming to Rochester. They go, oh, you do stand up like live too?
Yeah.
Go, what do you think this?
What do you think this is? Or the worst is when you just leave Rochester and they're like, dude, when are you coming? I'm like, I've been plugging it for 6 months, you non-fan asshole.
Every single time I leave a city, I get like 30 people being like, come back. When are you coming to Seattle? I'm like, dude, I'm on the plane leaving.
Yeah.
The worst. You also have a podcast called Sword Fight with Nikki and Jim Norton, which I got to tell you, you and Nikki arguing is maybe some of my favorite stuff to watch on the internet because she'll be legitimately crying upset at you, and you just stay in the pocket and lob hilarious haymakers at her. And it's like, it's one of those moments where you would feel like I'm watching it going, I worry that the relationship, if he doesn't get serious right now, could fracture, and yet you still just.
I try not to get like, I get pissed off, but she's emotional. It is what it is. Like, right. It's when you're arguing, there's no rational connection half the time. It's every relationship I've ever had is the same. It's like there's just no way to break through that emotional. When someone's having a breakdown, I'm very logical when I argue. Like, I try not to get too angry.
Right.
I do get angry. I get but I try to like stick with the facts, and that's just.
You don't seem like a yeller, though.
Oh, I am.
You are.
I try not to be as much because. I can't take when someone yells at me.
Right.
That I explode.
You go back. And whoa.
I can't handle being bitched at or yelled at. Like, if you're telling me something, I can handle it.
Right.
But when someone is yelling at me, it just makes me want to. I can't stand it from anybody.
See, I go the opposite way because I grew up in like my parents got divorced, so it was like it was always yelling and arguing. So now, like, my wife's Italian, fiery Italian woman. So like, if she gets loud when she wants to, and if she starts yelling, I get lower. I do like I'll still be an asshole about it. I'll be like, if especially if it's in like a public setting, I'll be like, you're like, I've said things where I go like, you're embarrassing yourself right now. Which just makes them like tilt.
They get so mad.
Angry. If you stay calm when someone's yelling at you, it is the best. It is the best kryptonite because they just want you to get to their level, and if you don't get there, it's maddening for them. And then they just look like the Ed Gein in the end of Texas Chainsaw, like spinning in the middle of the street, with the thing.
It's understandable that like when we argue, it's an unreachable amount of being irrational. Like,
right.
I've had that with my ex-girlfriend too. Like, just there's a place they go to, but I attract crazy people because I'm nuts, and I do attract people who are. I don't attract people who are stable and go through arguments well.
Right.
They're not attracted to me. They find me repulsive, as do the women I date. But they're just smart enough to know I have money.
But I mean, you and Nikki, just from what I've seen when I was on the road with you guys, I've never seen you guys, have like an argument on the road or anything like that? You guys have always been. She's the sweetest person, but it's been. You guys seem like you're very, very in love. You know?
Yeah, I do love her. I mean, as much as I can love being married, like it's hard, man. In your 50s when you get married, like I don't get hookers anymore, and it's very difficult. That's why I'm getting fat because I'm not indulging that way. So I've been eating on the road. Like typically. It would be escorts and like out of control and fucking girls I meet on the road. And then like for the last X amount of years, because I was dating her long before people knew.
Sure, of course.
So I was on my good behavior.
Right.
It was just, you start eating more and just comfort food on the road because you got to do something.
Now I wonder, like it's a whole new world. I met my wife before I started even doing comedy. I met her in college. So like it's escorts and even like sleeping with fans I don't know which is more alien to me, like because I don't know which is weirder for you. Is it like, do you find it strange? Like it doesn't feel like a rock star when you're like, oh, there's a groupie from the show, and like I feel like when you're a comedian and you get a fan to come back to your room, it almost feels like you're too gettable almost. You know what I'm saying? Like where it's like
I am gettable though, Mike. Yes, I do know what you mean, but I am gettable. Yeah. I'm under no illusions that I'm not gettable.
Right.
Escorts are easier because it's a more honest exchange. Like you're never gonna have an escort go, I was just doing that so you'd like me.
Right.
You know what it is, and she knows what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes if you sleep with somebody who you meet on the road, you got to be careful because they'll act like, no, this is just casual, but it might mean a little more to them. Right. And if it doesn't mean more to you, they get pissed off.
And then the next time you come back, you can get like a super, crazy fan. And
yeah.
Or it's also just like, I would also be worried about like the crazy ex or the one night stand turned into like, you know what he did to me kind of a thing. Like you can never, the whole Me Too, like it feels like it's a slippery slope with escorts feel like the safer
It is,
route.
yeah. And it's just more honest. Like, I mean, fucking fans is fine too. Like they're people, and like people are like, oh, if you're fucking your fans, that's a little. It's like, well, how about what they're doing? Like they're fucking me, what? Because I'm handsome? I mean, shut up.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't look at me if I was a garbage man.
It's a reverse escort because they paid to see you, and now you're having sex with them.
Absolutely. So chances are I comped them, so no.
Yeah. Did you? I can't even ballpark like you with the basketballs. I can't even ballpark what an escort would cost. I think it could be anywhere from $300 to $12,000.
That's probably right. I've never spent that much on it. I was pretty easy. Like, I wasn't big on anything. I think the most I ever spent was $1,000, and that was somebody who I really wanted to see, who had been in like films. And
so you get like a catalog. You get like is it like a karaoke book where you get a catalog of people to fit through?
Well, it's click. It's click.
Yeah.
But it was no. She was a woman I had met, and she had done movies and all this stuff, like porn. So I was like, oh, okay. I wanted to see her, but she charged a lot more because of who she was, and I did it once, and then I had sex with her without a condom. And I came in her. I was crazy.
Whoa.
I was crazy.
Did she flip out from that?
No, she wanted me to.
Oh.
And I didn't see her for a long time. And then I saw her, like, we hooked up. The next time we hooked up was like a year later, and she was pregnant. and she was very honest. And she's like, yeah, this is from a client. She's like, he got me pregnant. And I told him, look, this is how much I'll charge you to get the abortion. And he didn't want to pay it. So now I'm going to have the baby. And it's crazy because I know how much he makes, so I know how much he's gonna have to pay. Like,
my God!
So I'm like, I took a real chance.
How pregnant was she when you met back up?
I mean, she was 7 or 8 months, and it was impossible. It was mine. It was over a year later.
Yeah.
Believe me, she would have told me.
You hired her for services, or were you were just like hanging out with her?
No. We hooked up. I think she gave me. I'm not a big. Pregnancy is not a thing for me. Some guys like it. I don't at all like it. Obviously, some of my marriage. So we fooled around a little bit, but we didn't have sex.
Right, because $1,000 is that everything? Now, do they stay there until you're done, or is it like you have me for the night? How does that? I feel like a young sheep boy who just came out of I'm so naive when it comes to this.
That was an hour.
An hour.
But I remember when it was. It was, I want to say 2012. Patrice was, I think, still in the hospital. I have a weird time frame for that. I don't know if he had died yet or was still in the hospital. So it might have been 2011. But that's how many years ago that was. I remember. I have a very weird time stamp for that one. So her kid now is probably 12.
Whoa.
12 years old.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She was nice, though. And she was very, very sexy. And man, was that a hot experience. It was a crazy gamble, though.
Yeah. Did you have the shame right afterwards? Like the post? I've heard a lot of people they get the hooker or whatever, and then immediately after it's like, I should have just jerked off.
I mean, like if you spend more money, but I wanted to see her.
Right.
And again, I don't like, I would get to know people. Like most of the girls I would see like for years. Like,
oh wow,
I would see girls like regularly. I still talk to some women who I saw years ago, women who I haven't seen in 8 years. We still text once in a while. Hey, how are you? Like. It's I always liked them. I fell in love.
I think that's honestly like healthier than like I said, like the having sex with the fans or like wait staff. You know what I mean? It just feels like it's less sticky.
And look, and there's been plenty of waitresses. Very few, like very over the years.
Right.
I can think of maybe 2 or 3, and one we hooked up, but. I was friends with, this was after she was a waitress. I knew her for like 5 years before we ever hooked up. Like very, very few over the, I'm an acquired taste fuck. Like the better looking you are, the more they're going to be like, wow, like if you were on the road, you would do great if you were in the run. With me, it's like they finally go, all right, I like this guy.
He wore me down.
No, I'm dirty enough where those weird things they were ashamed of, they're like, I can tell him about that.
Weird kinks you can get, I'm
not persistent. I don't go, come on, because it doesn't turn me on because I'm more of a sub. Like, so I like a dirty brain.
Nice. Okay.
I don't like to have to always,
the shame of that, if you try to hook up with a fan and then she's like, no, I'm good, that to me would be the ultimate, like, oh God.
No, that's happened a lot too. Oh my God, yeah. Or no, my boyfriend likes you. Like, you got to take your shot.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, look, I like you. Why not?
Yeah.
But I've gotten that a lot.
So with these 2 podcasts you got, I mean, now with possibly this, you're here. Can you juggle 3 podcasts?
I think so, yeah. But I would be willing to ditch either one of the other ones if it infringed on this schedule.
That's the exact answer I was looking for.
Obviously, this takes priority.
Of course.
And if this does well and there's a percentage of my other podcast revenue, that could be up for discussion as well.
This is great. I'm very happy to
appreciate
hear that. When I used to do Jim and Sam was on Sirius, we had some great times, and I know you. I'll disqualify it. You love Sam. You wish him nothing but the best.
I don't care if he finds a lump on his brainstem. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I was going to ask, do you kind of secretly hope now that you've left that the numbers are worse than when you were there? No,
I don't care. It's really bizarre. Like, I knew it was coming before it happened, and he's got to stay and work. Like,
of course.
I mean, he's got 3 kids, and I knew that those guys were going to continue, and I would even say it. But I didn't sabotage it or go like, fuck this place.
Yeah, no.
It was probably a money issue from the company.
Right.
And maybe they just liked those 4. Look, I did it for 20 years, radio.
Right.
A little over 20 years.
It's crazy.
And it was great, and I loved it. I had fun with Sam. I had fun with those guys.
Yeah.
But like on the road, I'm doing better numbers now than I was doing when I was there. Because Sirius is a massive company.
Right.
But it's insular. Because it's a subscription service,
right.
Nobody stumbles on you.
Right, they have to seek you out.
They have to seek you out, and the people who knew me and liked me, and the people who didn't. But I've seen my road numbers doing better now that I'm not there, and that's
so wild.
That's just about being out of an insular, is insular the right way?
100%.
Yeah, because it's a subscription service.
Because when you started, Sirius was like a kingmaker. That was like, you get on there, you're gonna feed your road numbers. And how much the landscape has changed in that time is so insane that now it's like, no, I'm gonna leave this conglomerate to go to YouTube, which is like, you know what I mean? If I said that to you in even 2012, you would have been like, what? It's like, it's crazy. All right.
And they can still help, by the way. Sirius is good to promote realistically, but it was just when you're there for so many years, people are too familiar with you, and it was just time, and I don't miss it at all. The only thing I miss is like knowing that money was there. Of course. But I do okay on the road.
Yeah.
So I'm doing an extra a weekend a month, and nothing has changed in my life.
Right.
So it's great.
You got Robert Deniro to spank your bare ass.
I did.
For a mouthful of shame.
He wanted to suck my dick.
What? What dirt did you have on him to get him to do that? How did that?
You know how I did that? I did that movie, The Comedian, which Taylor Hackford directed at the Cellar, and De Niro was in it. And so I was, me and Nick DiPaolo did a scene. I think it was with De Niro and Edie Falco played his agent. And we had to be comedians. And as he was walking by, we're yelling stuff at him. Like he played a comedian named Jackie, I think. So Taylor Hackford, the director, and I will make this short, liked some of the things I was yelling. Right. So he goes, hey, could you look at some, we're rewriting a little bit of this. But the rewrite was strange because we were puzzle piecing it, like just a couple lines here, couple lines there. So I had a meeting. Taylor took me to a meeting with De Niro at De Niro's house. It was just the three of us talking comedy and stand-up and about going up, and just we had a conversation about it. And De Niro liked me, I think, because I was he likes dirty jokes.
That's so fun.
And so afterwards, I told Taylor, it's always been my dream. I had wanted him to do it for years.
Yeah.
And Taylor goes, well, he appreciated that I helped out and didn't ask for a writing credit, didn't ask for extra money.
Right.
And he goes, why don't you just ask? He goes, I'll ask Bob Felt. And so I wrote a letter, and I couldn't believe when I got the email back. It said, Bob would love to do this with you. I couldn't fucking believe when he said yes. So I didn't tell him about this bare-ass spank. I left that out of the script.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes.
We shot that in his office, and I didn't want some assistant saying no. So when we were there, I brought a brush. I'm like, Bob, I'm going to ask you to spank me, but I got a brush. You don't have to touch my ass.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't care. I'm like, remember you said that. So for 2 takes, I laid over his lap with my bare ass. And I told him, I'm like, I'll try not to jizz on your leg. And he laughed. And then he goes, let's do one standing. He just had great camera instincts. He's De Niro. And that's the one we wound up using.
Something about him. He felt like a natural.
He just was very comfortable in front of the... And he was slapping me on my face light. Yeah. And he goes, he was faking it. And I'm like, you can hit me.
Yeah.
He's like, all right. And he's a strong motherfucker because he works out like every morning. Sure. And he's got big hands. And he really rocked me when he hit me. It was great.
He had a little bell ring in there.
Yeah. And we had to do like 10 takes. So that's one of the highlights of my life.
That's amazing. Yeah, that would be. That would be the whole special to me. I just put that.
I had in the opening of that. I had Louis slam a door in my face, Gervais, and then De Niro is the final. I've had some good ones.
That's so great. I mean, talk about an opening. You were in The Irishman, playing young Don Rickles.
Yes,
I've heard you were great. I don't know.
Thank
I'm still
you.
trying to finish it, but
sure, it's a long movie.
What was that? What was that like? What was that like playing a different, because you're not only playing a different a legend, but then you're also doing it like Sebastian's playing, he's like acting as a different, so you're playing a comedian in front of a comedian in front of all these other, like, these high-end actors. That's got to be nerve-wracking,
I've been compared to Rickles my whole life, and I love Rickles, but I was Richard Pryor and Carlin were the guys I really watched. It's something about my head shape and the way I talk. It wasn't a conscious, like I never emulated Rickles. We all like him, but it was more of a physical thing. So my manager helped me get that, and I just went in. I didn't have to audition for it. They said Scorsese watched some of my stand-up and said, I think this guy can do this. So I went in and had a meeting with him, and this is when Nikki and I were dating, but it was long distance, and we were fighting, and I was in such a depression that I wasn't nervous when I met with Scorsese. I didn't give a fuck. I was so depressed. I mean, I was happy to meet with him, of course, but I was so wanting to jump off a building. I'm like, it just relaxed me enough. Yeah. And I sat there and we talked comedy for 15 or 20 minutes. He goes, all right, great. And he goes, you got it. So I went and they tried the makeup, and I had 10 days. So I went over it was all material Rickles had done. Right. So I get there to Gotham, and I walk in, and it's just, in the room, it's Scorsese, Pesci, and De Niro. That's the only people.
That was shot at Gotham?
That was at Gotham. Oh. And the three of them are standing there, and Pesci and De Niro are dressed like gangsters. And I'm like, it's the hardest thing I've ever done is not ask for a photo with all three of them.
Sure, yeah.
And then we wound up shooting the scene. I did all the Rickles, the material in coverage. And then when it was time to shoot the audience, Scorsese goes, hey, could you do, Mr. De Niro has requested that you do some of your own material because he wants to hear stuff he hasn't heard yet just so he laughs naturally, as opposed to the same Rickles lines. Yeah, the same line. So I was just doing my act in front of...
Well, I assume De Niro also probably helped in you being like, he didn't have anything to do with telling Scorsese, like, you should get...
he very well may have, because I came, there was like flowers in the dressing. Congratulations. Wow. I definitely think that they cleared it with him because I think he was a producer on it.
Do you still keep in touch, you and him?
I texted him or emailed him. I don't have his text. I emailed him recently on his birthday, and he'll always respond like, But with a relationship like that,
he's busy with like 5 newborns though.
He's De Niro. Yeah, exactly.
he's got a lot going on.
He's fucking. He's De Niro. Like,
yeah.
The fact that he responds, you can never get so caught up in it that you get mad if they don't respond right away.
Of course. Yeah.
So I've written, but every time I've emailed him, he gets back to me. Usually quick, but sometimes it takes a couple weeks. But then he's like, "Hey, I just saw this," and
that's awesome.
Always great, but you can never take it personal if they don't.
It's my hardest thing in comedy is like me not taking like people texting back personally, especially people that it's particularly hard with more with like peers and people who are like well above me, but just it's when they're because everyone's on social media all the time, so it's like if you're not writing back the text but you're uploading stories and
you're on your
reels
phone.
And you're like you see it, but then you meet up with people and in person they're lovely and then they go I forgot to text, and then you see they have 800 unread texts, and you go, all right, so this is not but it's just...
like if I text, I mean, I've known Rogan for many years, and he'll always respond, but like sometimes you have a conversation and it's just one back and forth or two back and forth, and I'm like, everybody in the world is texting. Like I don't take it personally. I'm like, why did he get back to? It's like I don't know, maybe because he's texting Trump. Like I'm not. You have to be realistic,
right?
As to where. Like what another person's life entails, not where you are. Like when you're friends with somebody, it's
right.
But like how many other people they're talking to, and I get it.
Times,
yes, like if it's almost like if I had a text from one of my old friends and we're chatting, and then I got a text from fucking Gervais. I would text Gervais fast.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. You don't want to text back too quick because then you're like, then it comes off as.
I literally, if Gervais texted, it would text back while the little dots was.
Yeah. You had a pilot for MTV Spring Break called Camp Cool.
Two pilots.
I mean, but the word Camp Cool enough. I just want to know everything about what the hell that was.
Well, it was unfortunately a one and done, Mike. Not a big.
But just the name. I mean, how could it not? How could it not have been?
Here's what happened on MTV. That was 2003. It was Spring Break. I had a show called Stupid Bets that they wanted me to shoot at Spring Break, a pilot. Last Comic Standing wanted to use me. They were going to put me in the house, but it conflicted. So to make it up, because they wouldn't let me out of the contract, MTV gave me a second pilot, Stupid Bets, with Vanessa from Vanessa Manillo was in that, and also Al. I forget his last name. He was in Punk'd.
Okay.
And the three of us played like these coaches for these for people for students who didn't have confidence or whatever.
Yeah.
And I forget what my role was, but it was more of a confidence builder. I would remember probably had there ever been any episodes, but the fact that did I mention it was a one and done, folks?
Do you still have when you do a pilot and then they it doesn't get picked up? Do you get the copy of it? Do you still have that somewhere?
That's a great question. No, I don't think I've ever seen that. Stupid Bets, I don't know if I saw that or not. Me and Florentine did a couple for VH1 many years ago. I've done a lot of things that are one and like if you look at my IMDb, a lot of things say one episode or pilot. But no, some of them you do, and some of them they don't give it to you.
Well, I mean, hey, at least people keep giving you shots.
It was nice, yeah. And I always try. Like I did a few years ago. The last ones I did were for IFC. I did 2 pilots for them. Neither got picked up. That's where I met Nick Mullen. He wrote for both of them. But I like what we did. I thought it was fun what we did. So it is what it is.
Now you were on one of my favorite shows of all time, which is Bar Rescue.
Oh, to Catch a Predator.
Yeah, you had those fresh baked cookies. You showed up naked with a 6-pack.
I know, and I knew it was a setup, but I was hungry.
I could watch that man scream at poor people all day long.
John,
How is that? Because I've heard both positive and negative things about him. Because Stanhope has done it, and he's famously now, like, I guess him and John Taffer have like a big beef or something. Because he was just like, I don't know, something. They had a falling out, I suppose. But how was it when you did it?
I had interviewed him a bunch. Sam watched the show. Like, I don't watch it. I've seen moments in Bar Rescue, but Sam knows every one of them.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, and I like John. Like, we've interviewed him, 10 times.
He's confident. He always, when he wants you to agree with his point, he smiles and nods. He goes, because you're an idiot. And he goes like this to you and makes you have to, you just start nodding. Yeah. And he does this a lot. Oh, I can't believe it. And he makes people say out loud they're a failure to his face before he'll give them money, which is like such like a beg for this thing. It's very it's so demoralizing for them.
But he was great. Like, again, he was always fun on the show. He's a great talker. So when he asked us to do, that was in Tampa. We shot that in Tampa. It was comfortable. I don't drink, and I didn't tell them I was sober until I got there because I wanted to do the gig.
Yeah.
And my famous, it just didn't taste fresh. Real douchey line, but it didn't. But I'm not good at, like, oh, the poor lady was. Even John was nice to her because she was crying, and he was like, "It's okay." Like, even Taffer was nice to this woman.
Yeah.
But even on Kill Tony, I can't be mean to the young comics. I would rather make fun of what they look like, or what they have, or about them, than attack them as comics. Because I feel like if you're like, I could handle my ugliness being mocked,
of course.
But if someone told me like, "Yeah, you suck," like when I was brand new, it would hurt me.
Yeah, well, especially in Kill Tony, where they're so new. They're like, some of these people are like, I've done the show where people go up and they go, "This is my first time doing comedy," and you're like, I can't. I guess that's actually first time doing comedy. You usually always get a nice buffer. Like, people always go, "Oh, well, grading on that curve." But if you say you're 5 years or less, people act like you should be fantastic, and you're like, a minute is so hard.
It's a
being,
long
like,
time.
Funny and under the pressure, and also like, they're getting names pulled out of buckets. So these people aren't like, well, I know I'm going up tonight, I can make sure. They think they might, but then when you're actually called up and you're standing on that stage, like, I've seen people really they panic. And then they have to do the interview, which is like, it doesn't even, you could bomb that minute of the show, but if you're funny in the interview, that's what makes you memorable.
I've seen a couple turn it around during the interviews too, like where they just eat shit doing their set.
Yeah. But they're interesting characters.
But they're interesting, and they're better at just talking. Like for me, when I auditioned for an acting role, if the audition was just me being nice to the fucking casting director, I'd be a star. But unfortunately, then they go, "All right, now here's your scene." I'm like, and they're like, "Get out."
I'm not great at being off book for auditions because I have there's something about it that makes me so upset that I feel like I'm doing this, like I'm committing all this time to memorizing this for free. And especially if it doesn't feel like the way in which you would speak. That's the downside of stand-up comedy is we get so comfortable at talking in our own voice when we have to be other people. It's like, this is so fake.
It feels bullshit. Like, oh, look, Jimmy Norton's pretending.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
I fucking hate it unless I can change little words to make it mine, like minor things, not that affect anything.
I agree. But sometimes they want you to be,
That's right.
God forbid you do a Mamet thing. It's like, they'll flip out. Yeah.
And with him, I respect, like, who else is like that too? Who's the one that did
Aaron Sorkin?
Aaron Sorkin. Yep, that's the one, News Radio. But you look at how good fucking Jeff Bridges was in that. No, I'm sorry. It's Newsroom.
That was Jeff Bridges.
Was that Aaron Sorkin?
Was the HBO, yeah.
That's one thing. Yeah. He was so good in that.
That opening scene of that pilot is it jumped the shark in that scene because that was like one of the greatest opening scenes where he's doing the college and he was just like, where they're like, why are we the greatest country in the world? And he has that whole rant about how we're not, and he goes, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And it's like, that is one of those things where it pulls you in so well. But I feel like the show never hit that peak ever.
Sure. I had a great elevator pitch, but then maybe exactly. That's what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, it faded. You did multiple specials on Epix, which is now MGM Plus and soon to be Glooby, I think. You did 3 hour-long specials in 3.5 years, which is insane. Were you just in the zone or manic, or like what was going on there? That's a prolific turnaround.
Yeah. And that was how I would do it. I would always do like an hour, try to do a new hour a year, and then we were just shooting. But then with other ones, like with Netflix, it took a lot longer.
Right.
But I turn material around fast once it's shot. Like, I shot something recently in November, which is I want to put out probably on YouTube because that's where everybody's doing it now. But the best thing in my life is the next day when I can go with nothing and just go on stage and start talking about anything other than the shit I was talking about for a year.
Get so sick. And then there's that moment, it's like free fall without a parachute, and you feel like you really get in that zone. But then there's also the thing where, I don't know if you have this, where after I record something, if the first couple new things aren't going well, you have that in the back of your head being like, oh, you got the proven thing. And you're like, no, I don't want to.
I never go back and grab it. I'll do a line once in a while, like an occasional, if you do X amount of hours of material in your career, once in a while you go back, there's a line, you're going to go, who cares?
Of course.
But yeah, no, I can't. I love being done with shit. I fucking can't. Ugh. I don't know how people shoot a special and then keep doing that material.
Yeah, or do it for how about the guys that were doing it, before the yearly turn, they do the same special for 20 years.
It's crazy to me.
They must, and how they can make themselves sell it is impressive.
How do you feel like that's alive every night? Like
Never,
saying that
can't.
it's just dead. It's one long.
They're sociopaths.
They're
Those people have to be lunatics.
Yeah, they probably break children's toes when they're not performing their same tired shit.
Exactly what I think they do. I read that you always felt weird, out of place as a kid because of your looks and stuff like that. Is this true?
Yeah, I mean,
because same with I'm relating to you here because
Sure.
same with me because I was a super self-conscious kid. I was an only child. I had braces. I had retainers. I had to get reconstructive surgery to fix like my sunken in chest, like the same thing that Daniel Simonson always talks about. He talks about it on stage.
Does he have a sunken chest?
Yeah, it's a big part of his act. He's very funny. Check out Daniel. But thankfully, I was more of like an ugly duckling situation, and you were more of like an ugly. What specifically made you self-conscious?
I mean, I would always blink a lot. I don't know what it was. I just thought Jimmy Norton sucked. I don't know. I tell people I used to have this imaginary friend. It was from Jimmy Robinson, from like Lost in Space, but it was me.
Okay.
But me and Jimmy Robinson, who was just Jim Norton, me and Jimmy Robinson would play, and we hated Jimmy Norton. I remember that. The me and Jimmy Robinson thought Jimmy Norton was garbage. Hated him.
So there was like a third. So you were also somebody else.
I was the third person,
Yeah,
and Jimmy
yeah.
Robinson, of course, was the handsome one that everybody loved. But Jimmy Norton, let's avoid him at all costs.
That's wild that you were able to separate. You had an out-of-body, independent observer, objective person, and you were like, objectively, this guy, who's me, sucks. That's
Jimmy Norton's garbage. Yeah.
That's like Norman Bates level disassociation.
It is, yeah. That's why I do characters. I've been doing this since I was a very, very young boy.
Yeah. So you have a lot of like shame and embarrassment and self-hatred, except for when it comes to taking pictures with any celebrity that you meet. Why is that?
That's something I kind of got sick of doing because once now if I interviewed somebody I would do.
Yeah.
But it was just fun to do, and I would always get stories out of it, or jokes. Like if it went great, or if it didn't go great, or if I embarrassed myself, I knew that there was something on the other side of it.
Right.
It was fun to have because I kind of like those stuffs. I just liked it. Wow, I'm in this life where I can do this.
Yeah.
I didn't care. Other people would go, "Why are you doing that? You're in the business. Shut up.
Yeah,
I don't
I've
care."
been told that.
I don't give a fuck. I get a picture with McCartney coming out of Stern's studio, and everybody else is too cool. But you know what? I have a great picture with Paul McCartney.
That is.
It's one moment he'll never remember it.
Right.
It was a second of his day.
Yeah.
I won't bother people with kids or when they're eating. Like I've had people
course.
ask me for pictures while I'm eating. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't do this.
Yeah. Of all the people that you've like weirded out, what is it? You said you had fun story. You got fun stories from. Who are some people that celebrities that like maybe you got a fun or weird moment from?
Nicolas Cage, he wouldn't take one with me. I sat next to him on a flight for 6 hours. And I was trying to talk to him, but I waited until we were taking off, so it was already 25 minutes in. And I'll never forget, I said so, I was like, and he goes, huh? And I'm like, oh, and I just knew he didn't want to fucking talk to me. And then when we landed...
What does he do? Hold on. What is Nicolas Cage doing on a plane? Is he on a laptop? Is he watching movies? Is he just
I don't remember.
sleeping?
I don't... He was just probably sleeping. Usually I think I saw, what's his name, on a flight once, was reading a script. What's the one? He's a bald guy.
Jason Statham.
Not Statham. No. The one The Rock didn't like.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
That guy I've seen on a plane. So he might have been reading something. But when we landed, I asked him for a picture. I'm like, "Can we take a picture together?" And he goes, "I'd rather not." I go, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "But I'll sign something." And instead of telling him, "Go fuck yourself," I gave him we were in first class at American Airlines. I gave him the menu, and he signed it, and I still have it.
What are you going to do? Like, signatures, unless they're athletes, are useless, I think.
I always get them to Jim, too. Like, if I get a poster or something signed, I just get it to me. I'm not going to sell it.
Yeah. Oh, maybe they like that more then, because they know you're not going to, like,
they know you're not a
flip it
hawker,
on the...
yeah.
Because it does feel like there's a large conglomerate of people that probably look like you that go up to, like, they're the ones that go up to baseball players and like, "Can you sign one for my kid? His name is Robert."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or what? And it's just, and then, so I think that, do you still have access to these, like to a lot of these celebrities? Because that could make you a very valuable candidate. for this?
You know, I do. Some of them I still talk to.
Deniro,
sure,
obviously, for sure.
I know, but I haven't even been able to get De Niro for mine, so I'd hate to make a false promise.
Okay.
Ozzy hasn't texted me back in a while. I don't blame him. I mean, I probably give him the creeps on some level. He's always been very nice, but
yeah, it's funny to think of you that Ozzy Osbourne being creeped out is a fun thing.
I met him. The first time I met Ozzy was 1997. I was with Jim Florentine at MTV. This guy Frank we knew where he said Ozzy's coming in today for an interview, so he brought us in. And I would never been more starstruck than the first time I was in the room with Ozzy.
Sure,
like never. And I followed him to the bathroom for an autograph. I was so. He's not a person. He's Ozzy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, could you sign? He goes, oh, I can't right now, man. I got to do an interview. And then he went to the bathroom, and if I had to wait till after, but I really embarrassed myself.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would crush me to have because there's certain people that just don't take like you said, like I guess Statham or like Seinfeld famously doesn't take pictures with people. Obviously that's different because he's a comedian, but like there are celebrities that just go, I don't take pictures.
Some guys don't. Like Louis at one point wouldn't. But he was always nice to people, and he would talk to them. Because I think people started asking him when he was with his kids.
Yeah,
and then he's just
crazy.
like, I don't want to do. Like it just.
Well, I did that once with Dee Snider. I was in Los Angeles, and I had just got done eating at a restaurant, and I saw him leaving the restaurant I had just eaten at, and I was wearing. He was born in Astoria, and I lived in Astoria at the time, and had an Astoria T-shirt on, and so I was like, hey, and so I was like, do you mind if I get a picture? And I was just like by my car about to leave. And he was walking down the sidewalk, I guess with his son, I assume. And he literally, I just go, can I get a picture with you? And he just goes, yeah, all right, make it fat. Like he was so,
oh wow,
he was so pissed about it, but still acquiesced. And the whole experience, I was like, I should have just been like, never mind, but I still got the picture.
Of course you did, because you know why? It's a moment out of him, and you got a story out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I still don't know if I'm like, I appreciate that he did that, but then I guess I was the asshole in that situation. But.
No, I got one time. It's not, I forget. I walked up, I saw Patrick Swayze, and I walked up, and we took a picture. It was outside the Ivy in L.A., nice. And we took the picture, and I'm like, I'm such a fan, Patrick. And he goes, I'm not Patrick. It was another actor who I thought was Swayze, and he had probably gotten mixed up with him all the time. He was fucking...
Who was it?
I'm trying to think of his name. I love him, too. It's not Michael Rooker. He was in Officer and a Gentleman. He played the guy with Richard... Oh, wait, I know who it is. There's a black actor with the opposite name... and the guy from Platoon, Ken. Oh God damn it,
Ken. The only thing Ken that comes to my mind is Ken Burns, which is not. Ken.
No, not him. I believe he wears a wig.
What gave that away?
Yeah.
The fact that it sits on his head like a fucking mop, or the fact that it's
crazy.
Brown, it's light brown, and he's in his 70s.
Puts it with a railroad spike.
Mike, do you know who we're
something Kenneth? It's going to drive me. Wait, I want to actually make my brain get it. My mother always says, make your brain get it.
That's smart.
But it's the exact opposite name. So when I remember one, and the other guy I met, he was in Platoon.
Damn it.
He's a great, not Michael Kenneth Williams, no, Michael K. Williams. He opened one of my specials too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, where... He walks in, Club Soda Kenny's in the room. It's just me on my back with my hands tied, and there's tits painted on my back, and my pants are around my ankles, and he's about to fuck me. I wanted to put a gun in the scene, but my director was smart. She goes, don't have a gun. It's too heavy.
Right.
So I didn't.
Wow.
It was great. He slapped me on the ass.
You love getting your ass slapped by celebrities.
No, he improv that. He licks my head, and then he goes, you mind if I slap? I'm like, go ahead, because he had played Omar on The Wire.
Yeah, of course.
So.
No, he's iconic. He was awesome. He really
God
was
damn it. Keith David. David Keith was the other guy. David Keith is the white actor. Keith, and he was an Officer and a Gentleman. Keith David is the black actor from Platoon.
That's so funny. Because
I'm not Patrick.
You have a whole section of your website where it's just you and celebrities.
I haven't updated
like
in years.
Like a lunatic stalker.
I know,
it's iconic, man.
I know.
That's so funny that you have. But I will say this: I looked briefly. You and I both have met and have pictures with Jake LaMotta. And Jake LaMotta, Raging Bull. He looked exactly the same in your picture as he did with me. That big cowboy hat, and he was just he puts the fists. He always used to eat at this Italian restaurant on the Upper East Side that my dad lived near, and so we saw him there. He was a very, very nice guy, though. I guess he had some
he was old.
Yeah,
I interviewed Jake. We interviewed him on the show.
Oh, it's
And I got a picture with him and Mike Tyson together too, which is a great shot.
Yeah, you had like 9 with Tyson. I saw.
I've interviewed him a lot, and I got to know Mike very well. And he's one of my favorite people I've ever talked to because he's so honest. Yeah. And he's a very really underrated, introspective, smart dude. Like he big on philosophy and on self-doubt and on self-hatred. Yeah. I think that's why he liked me, because I talked a lot about hookers and like all this like addiction stuff, and he kind of liked that I talked about that stuff.
Someone I assume you didn't like, which you don't have to even to go. I just want to mention the Jesse Ventura thing.
Yes.
I just want to, because I wrote this down, because there's a moment in that interview where he's like hulking over you and brooding when he's walking out, and you say, quote, "You're bigger than me and stronger than me, so what? You want to beat me up? Go ahead. I'm not going to fight you. That means nothing to me." And dude, as a guy who was like a skinny twerp my whole life and didn't know how to fight, that was the most badass thing, because you completely neutralized him while making him look like a schmuck and then embarrassing him. It was like the perfect verbal takedown of just being like, so what? And then, it was great.
It was weird. Great. Like, and that type of thing, like, what annoyed me so much about him is we were having an argument. Like, it wasn't a tough guy. I'm not going to fight Jesse Ventura. Like, he's Jesse Ventura. I'm not a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still a tank of a person.
Right.
But when somebody tries to alpha me while we're arguing, again, if we're in a fucking almost fight thing, that's a different energy, and I would be stupid to engage that.
Right.
But we were just arguing about something else, and then when someone stands up and alphas me, it taps into this thing like, I know what you're doing.
Of course.
I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's,
it kind of takes 2 people to fight, you know, unless the other person's a complete psychopath. Like, if you're just like, nah, man, I'm not gonna. It's the same thing with like when someone screams and you don't match their energy, then they just look a fool.
I also wanted to be clear that I was arguing with him, but I'm not being a fake tough guy. Like, I'm not, because I'm in a radio studio filled with people.
Right.
I'm not trying to come off like I'm going to stand up and go toe to toe with Jesse the Body. Like, I'm not going to fight you, dude. You're bigger. Like, we all know that.
Right. This has been established.
Yeah. Like, it's like arguing is one thing, and I'm really good at that, but I'm not a fucking dummy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to fight a guy who can, throw me through the fucking window.
Yeah. Or through a table. That was kind of what he was known for. A little birdie told me that you are a big fan and avid collector of Kiss posters, and I got you a little something.
Oh.
And I hope you don't have this one.
Let me put my glasses on.
you have a glasses pack.
I do.
I like that it's got glasses on the.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes.
Just in case you weren't sure.
If there's ever a dry pair of panties, good luck staying dry when I whip these jokers out. All right. Whoa. Let's see. Thank you very much.
A Kiss poster for you.
Oh, nice.
And
Let's see.
That would be a.
Hold on. What is this?
Sorry about that. I just don't know if that's one of the ones that you have, but
I don't have this one.
Yeah, it's a Kiss poster.
But it looks like the insert from a Village People record. I really like it a lot. Couple of gentlemen, no wonder it took so long for the phones to get fixed. These 2 men are futzing about.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
I don't have that one.
Oh, perfect. That makes me very happy.
It will go in a place of honor in my home.
I appreciate. Well, good. That makes me very.
My
happy.
wife has a picture of one of her grandmothers, who, might I just say, is a sturdy woman, and I'm gonna
not pushing her over.
No. She was a blocky lady. Okay. And I'm gonna take that down and put those 2 men kissing.
Terrific.
Hold on, let me just dump everything out. Little chapstick in case my lips get dry. Little eye drops.
See, people would make fun of you for that. I love that. I think you're prepared for every situation.
I also want to show on a job interview that I have not only a can-do attitude, but that I'm always prepared and I'm appreciative.
Yeah, you're a gracious gift acceptor.
Thank you.
That's good. You mentioned Ozzy. We both love metal. What's your favorite metal concert you've been to?
I mean, it might have been in '77 when my dad took me to see Kiss at the Garden, because I couldn't, like, it was larger than life. Yeah. I also loved when I first saw Sabbath together, because they had broken up, and then we went and saw them. It was '99, I think, when they reunited.
2004, I thought it was.
Oh, it was before then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they must have broken up again, because I saw them at Ozfest in 2004, and that was when they reunited, I guess.
I think in 1999 they had done a live record and a couple of new songs, and then I could be wrong, but I want to say it was '99. I might be wrong, but we saw to see all 4 of them together.
Yeah.
finally, because I'd seen Ozzy so many times, and to be in the room with Sabbath that was amazing.
Yeah, that was my first time. I used to go to Ozfest every year, but that was the first one that we went to, and we saw that at Jones Beach Theater out in Long Island. So it's that on the water amphitheater, which is beautiful, and it was like June or July, and it was Judas Priest was on right before them, and it was like downpouring rain. It was such a hot, muggy day, and it's an outdoor venue, and it's pouring rain during Judas Priest's set, and then you couldn't plan this better. By the time Judas Priest got off and they set up, Sabbath comes out, the rain had stopped, and because that's all behind you is just the ocean, and it was so hot that it was like purple skies as they came out, and there was heat lightning in the distance, and they came out to like War Pigs, and it was just like seeing Sabbath with a purple sky and lightning in the background is like, this is the most metal fucking thing I've ever seen in my whole goddamn life.
What year was that?
2004.
Oh, it was that long ago?
Yeah, that was 2004. So that ruled.
Bill was playing with them then, yeah.
I also remember somebody gave me a, like one of those like weed hemp flavored lollipops. There's no like actual THC in it,
right? But
someone like gave it to us. We were teenagers and we like thought we were getting high off it, got like super psychosomatic. We're like, whoa! Yeah. It was very super embarrassing. We also, we do background checks on this podcast. You were arrested with Lewis Black?
Yes, I was. It was the Voyeur bus for Opie and Anthony. That's probably 2001. And Lewis and I spent the night in jail. It wasn't our gig. We just a bunch of naked girls. We got on the bus. We were reporting back.
Yeah.
The bus gets pulled over. Everyone gets hauled in for the night.
That's crazy.
I had to shit a lot. I left. I was in jail for 27 hours, and then I left with a log of Bruin and went right to Dangerfields and did sets. We got arrested on a Thursday, got out Friday night.
You went right and did
directly to Dangerfields and did sets.
Oh my! Did you talk about it? Like, did you let Bruce it up and be like, hey, you start reading the newspaper, you have a full breakdown.
Yeah, hey man.
People are like, what's happening? You're like, this is my time, That's great. You've overcome addiction, depression, your physical shortcomings. Which was the hardest?
Probably, depression and addiction kind of go hand in hand. But then again, physically, it's hard to say because I'm like right now I look at myself. We all see what's happening. I understand how I look, so that's kind of depressing. One feeds the other, and then I want to behave in an addictive way because that's a dopamine rush, which makes me forget about my tits. Like when I'm tweedling my nipples and I'm watching pornography on the road, and my wife can't annoy me, and my fucking dog can't run in the room, and I'm just tugging away, eating pretzels. I'm no longer depressed.
Love pretzels. I remember
bane of my existence.
Yeah, I almost brought you a bag of pretzels, but I feel like that could have sent you off on.
You're right. I probably wouldn't eat them because unless it would help with the gig, in which case I would eat them on camera. But I'm trying to avoid carbs. Good luck, Fetzo.
Okay. We're closing up here. Sure. This has been very fun. I would do a little segment sometimes called Fix It. Pick something in society you'd want to fix, and then tell me how you'd fix it.
The obsessive political yammering, political obsession I would fix. And what I would do is take the people who are obsessed on the right and then people who are obsessed on the left, and like no one has conversations, so I put them all in a room and gas them.
You're going to be like, lock them in there till they figure it out. You're like,
fuck them. I can't stomach it anymore.
Honestly, it's not a terrible idea. If you got all the most extreme people in a room and then they were all killed, then all that's left is the sensible middle.
Fairly normal people.
Yeah.
Just take all these fucking, all of them. I don't care what side they're on, you zealots.
Yeah,
just gas them.
I just feel like if we could pick a different death than gassing, because it feels like once we start talking about rounding people up and gassing them in mass,
understandably,
it's
yes.
sticky.
Then the
White
joke
guys
starts.
Talking about, it becomes.
So maybe not. Yeah, maybe not gassing because there is.
Shoot them. Let's shoot them.
I'm fine with shooting.
Yeah.
A Squid Game type death.
Yes.
I like that.
Make them think they're gonna win something. Your side will be president forever if you can, do red light, green light. With a counting Asian doll or whatever.
Or
the hell.
flood them. It would be great if you just filled it up, like when ISIS would capture people, they'd put you in a cage and they just lower you into a pool.
No way.
That's a shit way to go.
Because you feel it coming worse and worse.
Drown you like a rat.
Yeah, and then I bet when they get to the top, they're willing to just be like, I don't care about politics anymore, you know?
Yeah, but it'd be too late. You wouldn't hear them.
Yeah.
You ever see Deniro at the end of Cape Fear? That's how I want all of them to fucking go out, screaming and chained to something.
Counselor! Oh, man, this has been fun. I'm sorry this interview has been so, like, up and down, by the way. I don't mean to remind you of your weight. So you're very funny. We know this. You're well respected. You've had a hell of a career
so far.
Aren't you glad that you didn't off yourself as a teenager?
No, I'm not. I hate that I didn't.
Because I know you tried, you had to go to a facility or so, a thing about that. But I think that you're like the poster child for not killing yourself as a teen, because you're proof that it doesn't matter how awkward or weird or perverted you are. Like, with enough gumption and stick-to-itiveness, you have had a career that, I mean, literally no one would have thought that you could have achieved. So isn't that like you should be giving talks around high schools all around America? It
is nice that, you know, you feel like you're going to go nowhere in life, and then I realize sometimes, like, I have no boss. I mean, it's serious. I mean, but I was still self-employed. Like, it's like, you know, I can kind of do whatever I want, and like, I complain, but I'm like, I forget, like, most people can't do that. No. Most people have to get up and go to the office. Like, I literally today went to the gym, then went to I got to go see my friend and do his podcast. Like, and I'll go do tonight. Oh yeah, I got to go live my dream for 2 sets. Like, it's a
total of 30 minutes.
A great life. Yeah. I bitch about the fly. I got to fly, but it's like, every job has annoying things.
Yeah, and who knows? You might be sitting next to Nicolas Cage on a plane.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Jason Statham, you fuck. He's now my enemy because he's yours.
Oh no, Jason Statham I like.
Yeah, I thought Jason Statham was the one that said I'd rather not.
No, Nicolas
Cage said that.
No, I was only saying I saw Vin Diesel once.
Oh, Vin Diesel. I keep saying.
And he was reading a script on a plane.
Gotcha.
I know Nicolas Cage is the one that
said I'd rather not. That's also a much better impression, because when I was like, that's a really good impression of Vin Diesel.
Of course not. I appreciate
it's
you.
It's a good Nicolas Cage, but I gave it to you. I just let it slide.
I do appreciate.
Man, okay. I mean, Jim, this has been great. I'll be honest with you. I don't like to tip my hand to you. You're one of the top candidates that we've had.
I appreciate it. Who are the others?
There's, listen, I don't like to talk out of school, but we've had Jordan Jensen. We've had a lot of people who have made a good impression, a lasting impression on the pod. We had, but again, all of that to say, I think you're in a strong position, and I feel like you might be hearing from us again.
I hope so.
But either way, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And we'll let you go.
I do appreciate that.
All right.
And if there's anything else I can do that would help my chances, besides maybe not talking after you've obviously ended the podcast.
Do you mind spanking my bare ass?
Oh, no!